What do I use to teach election knowledge? We have a presidential election coming up in the fall. What can we do to help prepare our children to be citizens of this great country? Well, today I have a bunch of free resources for teaching about elections to your students. Who am I? I'm Jacqueline. This is homeschoolhangout.xyz, where I, a veteran homeschooler I'm in my 18th year of homeschooling, shares resources and tips to help you homeschool with clarity and peace. And if you're in California, you are going to want to stay to the end for a very special California thing that goes with elections. Yay! So let's get into it. But before we do, this is actually part of a collaboration with other homeschoolers, all sharing their favorite election resources. I don't know if theirs will be free. Mine happened to be. And it's being hosted by CJ from Homeschooling Through High School and Stephanie from Schulte's Sweeties. Schulte's Sweeties. At the end of this video, go down and there will be a playlist link in the bottom, and you can see what everyone else wants to share also. And of course, I want to know what your favorite election resource is to help with your kids. So let's start off with, traditionally, people always think about these things being taught to high schoolers. I don't. We do it all the time. And so the first resource I have is from iCivics, and they have some interactive things on their site. And they specifically say presidential election resources, but they're non-political, non-partisan, just teaching about state, local, and federal elections. I want to remind everybody, as your kids are growing up, make sure that you're aware and involved in your local elections. Why? You make more impact in a local election. Both your vote counts more, but also those elected officials affect your day-to-day life more than just about anything else. So don't sleep on the local elections. But they've got a bunch of teaching resources like worksheets, games, unit stuff, lesson plans. And I believe that it is all free. I don't know that everything they have is free, but everything I'm talking about is. They've got Win the White House. You can play the game. They've got different things on casting your votes. All this great free resources. I will include links to all this down below. So go to iCivics. Well, technically I'll include it over at homeschoolhangout.xyz, but there'll be a link taking you there. Okay, so that I find that is, it's a little young, but will go all the way through high school. So they really cover the age. The next thing is PBS. Their site has a civics and democracy section. And if you have young kids and they don't play the PBS games, don't be sleeping on that. They got a lot of free fun games my kids loved when they were younger. There were shows they never watched, but they said, oh, they had good games. So for a lot of these. These might be a little more political, but they're still fairly nonpartisan. And I do try to keep to fairly nonpartisan for the education part. They have a 9th through 12th thing on defining free speech, why it matters. Stuff for grades 3 through 5 and 6 through 8 on the 3 branches of government and their interactive lessons. And should we have a president? And that's aimed from about 6th grade to 12th grade. So they have a lot of different stuff on there. The next one I'm going through, and I'll be honest, I've got them all set up on websites here so I can look at them. The League of Women Voters. I know you're like, I'm not a woman, I'm not whatever. No, they often do a lot of really quality candidate info, stuff like that. Just be careful. They're going to be much more political. But they will talk about like what is a runoff election. That is a very important thing, and I have a feeling that this year there may be talk about it. Stuff like that. They have a lot of library type things. They've got newsroom reports, things like that, if you want to be watching the federal election live. I do try to keep it nonpartisan, but the League of Women Voters is often considered normal. I'm going to go with normal. Then we've got C-SPAN. And I don't know if you know this, but you can actually sign up as a teacher for the C-SPAN classroom, and they'll email you different resources and different things that happen all the time. So as we come up on a holiday, they'll email you about those holiday offerings and stuff like that. But even if you don't, you can go, and they have a lot on elections, constitutions, and things like that. They have clips on it, like video clips that are playing out the Constitution. They have things about classroom deliberations. I'm looking at it right now. They have a lot of different things to help with that. It is going to be aimed a little bit older. And C-SPAN is pretty party neutral, but they're going to be showing, what's going on now. They encourage a lot of community involvement. So like they have a thing right now of Student Camp 2025 competition, your message to the president. So if you want your message to go to the president, regardless of who it is, there's things like that. They have teacher opportunities. But I find for elections, they tend to have a lot of stuff because it's C-SPAN. And, you got to love C-SPAN. To me, though, one of the things that is key, and it is key, is understanding the Constitution. And so to that, I personally use Hillsdale. It is a conservative group. I'll be honest, it's conservative. It used to not be partisan. I don't know where they're at right now because I've not been following a lot. But the first thing you can do is sign up, and they will mail your students a free copy of the Constitution. I'm looking at it right now, and Declaration of Independence. So it's like a little pocket Constitution. So you gotta love it, right? Get one for all your kids. It's great. It's so great. But then they also have Constitution 101. They have a bunch of free classes. But my kids all did their Constitution 101 class, and it really helped them understand that. And while that's not exactly election resources, it is key to understanding the idea of it. You're going to get the Electoral College in there. You're going to get a lot of those things, which it feels like every election, those things are more and more contested. So if you don't have the knowledge about the Constitution, you're not going to understand what your rights and privileges are. Now, we are to the California section of this video. And it is a couple different things. They've got some educational resources. But did you know that it's encouraged that you pre-register to vote at 16 or 17? I pre-registered in public school. If your child has a California ID or a learner's permit or a driver's license, they can pre-register right there for voting when they turn 18. This is going to be important in the next thing I have to share, and it is your kids can help go run the polls if they're 16 and up. They need to be a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. So not on a visa, not on a, anything like that. They need to be at least 16 years old on election day. They need to attend a public or private high school, which, reminder to all your Californians, you're a private high school. They need to have at least a 2.5 grade point average, which I don't think is really hard. And they need to have permission from parents and school. And here's the fun part. They'll pay them to be there. Anywhere from $65 to $150. So you learn and you get paid. I am so here for it for my kids. Now, this is a California only. If you are not in California, I encourage you to look up on your own state website about elections and see if they do something similar. Now, like I said, they have other resources too, but the fun part is your kids can go work and get paid to do it. You're going to learn so much about it. And don't worry, they're not just going to set these high school kids up just by themselves. They'll be there with other people. And there's training and they'll tell them what to do. But I think this is so awesome, personally. But yeah, there are some free resources to help you teach your kids about elections, which frankly, after the Constitution, is, possibly even before, is one of the most foundational principles this nation was built on. What do you like using for elections? I know there's lots of great units out there, great books. I recommend hitting your library, but these are some really awesome resources, and they're all free. Let me know what you like. Go check out the other videos, and I'll talk to you beautiful people later. Bye!